Hello!
Hello, Sofia.
Welcome to MMM Edition 1 interviews. You are?
I'm Enrico Olivanti.
Great. Well, he was the second artist performing at MMM Edition 1. So do you mind joining me on a walk?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, just to warm up, I would like to start with a very chill question. So, if you had to plan your 3-band music festival of your dreams, you need to invite an artist from the past, one from the present, and then you have like a wild card. Who would you ask?
So, from the past, I will say the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Okay. Nice.
From the present, Akuanaru.
Okay, I don't know this one.
Yeah. And the wild card, if I have to be very wild, maybe I would invite the Miles Davis Quintet.
Wow, that sounds like a gorgeous festival.
Yeah.
I would definitely.
Also expensive, I think.
Yes, most likely. What's your earliest memory when speaking of music?
Interesting. Maybe the earliest memory goes back to my very, very, very early childhood at my parents' place. I remember the stereo playing mostly 2 songs. The one was Imagine by John Lennon, and the other one was Innuendo by the Queen.
Oof.
And so,
Bangers.
I have these very, very early memories, and if they still stuck so present in my memory, I think they also have an influence of my later development
Nice.
with music. Yeah.
That's so nice. How was it that you started making music? Did you also start when you were a kid?
Not exactly a kid. I was 12 when I got my very first guitar. The interesting thing is that when I was 10, I remember I was at home in vacation. It was, the beginning of the summer. And just a couple of days earlier, I got cassette player as a gift from relatives of mine. And I took the very first cassette I had at home, or my parents had at home. And at the beginning of this cassette, there was a wonderful guitar intro, acoustic guitar. And in that moment, I felt like, it was a kind of epiphany for me. I just understood it was going to be the love of my life. It was so clear, I still remember that moment. But at that time, it was so important to me just to spend a lot of time playing football. Then I didn't ask my mother, please buy me a guitar now, but I told them, here, please, could you buy me a guitar in 2 years?
Okay.
And
Fair.
that happened actually through, Christmas and so on. And Christmas 2000, I got my very first guitar. And from that moment on, it was clear that this one intuition was right. It became the love of my life.
Wow.
One of the biggest loves of my life.
Nice. What about specifically electronic music? How was that you started or entered this world, this genre or mix of genres?
Yeah, it's also a very interesting question because I started quite late. So my very first experiences of making music with electronic were around my 28th, 29th year. And it came just because of a specific project I wanted to do. I had an inspiration for something that had also a kind of audio installation in between of a bigger concert. And then I understood, okay, if I want to work on this one project, I need to learn something about, programming, sampling, also a little bit of synths. And but from the very first moment, it was clear that this part of making music was just a further development of other things I was already involved in, like, working with sound and orchestration, sound design, and so on. So it felt like something very natural. And from that moment, I integrated this kind of discipline in my music, and now they are, a fixed part in my whole activity. Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular, like in the music industry, music world, that was of great importance to you, or like was influenced your music in a particular way throughout your development and stuff? Could you name anyone?
Yeah, obviously a lot of musicians, also in different moments and in different genres. So, I started as a guitarist, and so my very first heroes were guitarists. Like, starting from the Beatles, I think George Harrison was a big hero of mine. And then through Jimi Hendrix, obviously. I came more into jazz and fusion, and maybe the jazz guitarist who influenced me the most was Pat Metheny. So I really practiced a lot in that direction. But since I'm a composer, so I'm not interested only in guitarists, there's a lot of musicians like Miles Davis, Wayne Shorter, David Bowie, Ryuichi Sakamoto. From the classical and contemporary music, I can name people like Igor Stravinsky, Giorgio Ligeti, Jeff Mills from the techno side, or people like, as I said, Akuanaro is maybe the contemporary singer I enjoy the most, big inspiration, not only from the musical point of view. And and now it's difficult to me just to name Brian Eno. How can I forget Brian Eno? So it's, and now, through these platforms, I got to know always more and more artists that I feel very inspiring, like Klaus Schulze, for example, or David Sylvian. So it can be a very long list.
I can tell. I can tell. What's your process on making music? Where do you start from? Like, do you start from a specific instrument? What do you do?
So actually, it changes from project to project, because I think it depends on what kind of ensemble or instruments you are working for, or what kind of purpose you have. And this question also can influence the way or the process I start. If there is something that's common to every kind of project I work on, is that in the very first moment I need to dive into a kind of subconscious dimension, because it helps me to have an intimate relationship with the topic, or with the the very central core of the project. It can be, writing a storyboard just to have a form for a longer composition, or finding a particular sound that can be, identified with a particular feeling or a particular topic. Or sometimes it just means to dive in this dimension and wait for something that comes to me. So actually, I like working in between between a passive and active process. There is something I have to do, and there is something I have to make room for and wait for the music coming, because I really think we are in the middle of a flow of energy, and sometimes our role as composers or artists is just to wait and create the channel for this energy, for this flow to come. Yeah.
What's the story behind the stuff that you've played at MMM? Also, like, we want to mention Carlo Ferro. That was also, like, we're very sad not to have him here today, but he took part with you in the gig. So tell us a little bit about this project of yours.
Yeah, this project is quite important to me because of Carlo's presence. Carlo is a musician I've been playing with since 2008. We started in Rome, like, our musical path together, and we played also in very different contexts. So we used to play in the quintet of my own. It's like a modern jazz quintet. And life brought us to Berlin quite in the same years, and also brought us into the discovery of electronic music. So it's interesting how we got together also in the middle of this way. And the music we performed comes actually from the project that was built around my last album, that actually I recorded as a solo album with the co-production of Stefano Barone, who's also a very important musician I had the opportunity to work with and also to perform with in quite a similar constellation. And we chose just 3 compositions that are on the album, but we gave them a quite different setting for a live session, because when we play this music live, we give more room to the improvisation, and also we like to catch the particular flow, the particular energy that we are feeling in the place or in the room in which we are playing. And the album's title is Love Letters Beneath the Doric Tomb. It's based on a story that took place in Rome in the 20th of the 20th century. And for me it was the first album in which I used mostly electronic instruments and guitars. As I said, I recorded it as a solo album, so that's only me playing and in one song also singing on the album. But then the path of the live concerts, between 2022, 23, 24, and now 25. So I played it live in Italy and also in Germany with Stefano Barone, so the co-producer, and now mostly with Carlo Ferro. And for us, it's interesting because now we are understanding that this music is bringing us slowly away from that album, and maybe we are building room for new projects and a new music more based on our interaction than on the original ideas. So it's like a boat that's crossing the river.
Nice. So it's always like constant transformation as well, no? Because you never perform the same.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
something actually we brought from jazz, because we have a very strong jazz background. And for me, jazz is still a very important, more philosophical influence or approach. It's the same if I'm playing, just acoustic music or electronic music with beat, only drone. Jazz is that discipline that helps me or helps us, also Carlo, to be in the moment and to catch what's happening here and now. So.
We chose this place also because it brought a little bit of the vibes from also maybe specifically from the title of your album. But yes, everyone, we're on a cemetery right now, just to check the vibes. Okay. What is, in your opinion, like, how is it for you to be a musician nowadays? How do you feel about it? How do you feel around it? What are the pros, the cons? Is there any differences in between, I don't know, Germany or Italy, for example? What's your reality?
So I can say being a musician is not the easiest thing you can have in your life, because music is not something that pays off like other jobs, I have to say. But in my case, I think it's something that belongs more to a kind of calling than to, a kind of choice. Because, as I said, from the moment I could have the guitar in my hands, something in me already knew that that's going to be something very important in my life. And for me, it's the same. I know until now, I'm working as a musician, but who knows what life brings. Even the day I will sell bread just to pay my rent, I will be a musician. So it's something that belongs to me. That's why I like your question. It's not making music, it's about being a musician. And that's maybe the important thing, because in times like the times we are living now, that are quite interesting, as I say, so it's full of conflict, full of irrational things happening, violence and so on. I think that people are looking for higher meanings than only material stuff, material values, or material, profit and so on. And I think that this kind of discipline that allows yourself to be in the moment, to listen, and to maybe also to ask questions that can go deeper, and to be also creative. No? I think one of the most beautiful things of being creative is that in that moment you discover you're not alone. You're just part of something bigger, and you are in the middle of a much bigger flow. And then I think violence, so things like violence, like hate, racism, and so on, they lose their meaning in such after you're aware of this one thing. And that's why I think being a musician is important, but also helping other people to understand this thing in themselves is very important. So education is very important, and not only inside the music. I think it depends on what kind of person you are. You can see these values in painting, writing poetry, acting, being a good gardener, or being a good farmer, or being a good underground driver, so on. So I think it's more a kind of attitude in life, and not something that's related to a job or to one specific discipline.
On making money.
Making money is comes very, very late in the chain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, it does. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, until it makes us happy and other people's happy, then we're happy, right? Like, it's fine. It's enough.
That's not secondary, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
If you had to choose a song, it's like very theme based, right before you die, like a song, the last song you would listen to before dying, what would it be? Which one would it be?
So, I think I have a clear answer, because maybe, I don't know if I already had this question for myself, but I think the very last song before I die will be My Sweet Lord by George Harrison. Just to prepare.
Yes.
If there's something waiting, then
we're going to be ready.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but not, it's a kind of mantra, the song. It's a mantra in the form of a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
And It's interesting. Some months ago, I was making a kind of resume of my whole music, just asking myself, why are you doing music? What dimension are you looking for through music? And at the end of 1 or 2 hours listening, it was clear I'm looking for a mystic dimension. And so I think the song is the perfect one. Also to bring myself back to the very first guitar hero who, influenced my very first months or years with the guitar. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very sweet. Well, thank you very much for answering my questions. I enjoyed listening to you so much.
Thank you.
I guess I'll see you next time. And thank you very much again for taking part to MMM.
Thank you very much.